All right, we're ready for our equal shares lesson on page 371. We are going to divide some rectangles, and we call these quadrilaterals because they have four sides, no matter if they are squares or rectangles or trapezoids or parallelograms. They're all called quadrilaterals because quad means what? We learned this. It means there's four, right? Four sides. We're going to first look at number 10. It says measure in centimeters, which I already have my squares, and that is kind of the hardest part for you, is probably making sure that your squares are very nice and neat, because you won't be able to divide it into equal shares if your squares are teeny tiny up here and really big down here. It won't work. So you're going to need to make sure that I'm trying to get the cap off my marker. You're going to have to make sure that your your squares are equal. They are the same size. So make sure when you're taking your ruler and going up on the side, you are measuring 0 here and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 centimeters across, 3 centimeters down. When you take your ruler and you go 1, 2, you're going to see that there's 3 line segments. So you're going to go 3 rows, 4 columns. Once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and divide it in half. Now, how do we divide it in half? Half means 2 equal parts. Do you see where we can divide this into 2 equal parts? You need to make sure that you have 2 parts that have the same number of squares in each side. Do you see that if we have 3 plus 3, we have 6? And then on the other side, 3 plus 3 is 6. So that is how we divide it in half. Draw a line down the middle, and you'll see 6 on one side, 6 on the other. Go ahead and shade in 1/2. So this shows halves. It shows 1/2 and 1/2. That means you have halves, 2 equal parts. Now we're going to move over to number 11. You may need to pause the video so you can go ahead and divide it into equal parts. Again, 4 down across, 4 making a row, and then 3 times. Remember, 3 times. So 4 plus 4 plus 4. Or 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 12 squares. Now if here we divide it in half and there were 6, how do we divide this into thirds, meaning we need 3 equal parts? Thirds is 3 equal parts. We need to have 3 thirds. And here we need to have 2 halves. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2 halves. How do we divide this into thirds? We need 2 cuts. You need to take your pencil and cut it into 2 cuts. That will make you have 3 equal parts. Do you see if we cut it here, we will have 4. Here we'll have 4. And then we cut it again and we'll have 4. So that is how we divide it into thirds. If you were thinking that, you are correct. Mine, I did not use a ruler. You will use a ruler, because when you use a ruler, you're going to have straight lines. All right, now go ahead and shade in 1 of those thirds. And then you'll have this one, and then maybe do something a little different on the bottom one. Maybe put some circles. Or you could have put in like lines going like this. Something to make it look different. So we have 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Okay, now pause the video if you need to, because number 12, you have to take your ruler and cut it into fourths. Well, actually, before you cut it into fourths, what I need you to do is make sure your centimeters are like mine. 4 across, 3 down. Number 12. Once you're done with that, we're going to cut it in 4 equal parts. Do you see a way to cut it into fourths? Meaning we'll have 4 equal parts out of 4 when we're all done. You are right. If we cut it 1, 2, 3 times, we are going to have 4 equal parts. What I like to think of when I think of fourths is cut it in half, and then cut each your half in half. Cut your halves in half. Because if you cut your halves in half, you're going to have 4 equal parts. All right, now go ahead and shade in one of them. And then maybe leave that one blank and maybe crisscross. And then maybe squiggly line. That way you can see there's 4 fourths, 4 equal parts. All right, so you have just learned how to cut it in half, how to cut it in thirds, making sure there's 3 equal parts, and now how to cut it into 4 equal parts. Now, number 13, it says to shade it into 2 different ways of halves. So again, you need to pause the video so you can draw your centimeter squares. When you're done, you're going to notice you have 4 across, 4 down. So that would mean 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. We have 16 squares here. How do we cut 16 in half? Yes, you're right. We need 8 and 8 because 8 plus 8 equals 16. We can cut it in half this way, kind of like you did here. Or because we have a square here, we have 16 square that make a square, you can see 8 going this way and this way. So we could cut it like this. So 2 ways of cutting it, once in the middle down vertically, once horizontally. The same thing when you get to fourths. So number 14, I'm just going to change this one now to number 14. You're going to cut it in half. Then you're going to cut your half in half. How do we do that? Cut your half in half and this half in half. Or if you have to do it 2 ways, so then the next way would be to do it vertically. So you're going to cut it in half. Then to make fourths, cut your half in half and your other half in half. And then you have fourths. All right. Go ahead, explore with equal shares on the next couple problems in the back side of this page. Explore with it and have fun. Remember, message me if you have any questions. Have a great day.